Hey everyone, Harry here to talk about some pretty damn big news out of New York City. And that is that Alvin Bragg, the DA, has convened what looks to be a special grand jury to look into crimes involving the hush money payment to Stormy Daniels. Let me unpack all of that because some is new and some is very old and you might not even remember. So, he has a gross boorish quick encounter with Stormy Daniels. I don't even remember when it was, but what I remember is toward the end of the campaign in 2016, Stormy Daniels resurfaces and she is threatening to go to the National Enquirer, is asking for money to not reveal the fact of the affair. It's now we think of it as like big whoop. It's all been, all his over the top, crazy, vulgar behavior that you would think would be disqualifying for so many other people. He's absorbed, including the Access Hollywood, scandal. But they think at the time maybe this so close to the election could bring him down. So there's first of all a whole triangle here between the National Inquirer, Stormy Daniels and her attorney, and Donald Trump and his then steadfast loyal lawyer, one Michael Cohen. And what happens is for a whole deal where David Pecker, the head of the National Enquirer, won't print it, and Stormy Daniels won't broadcast it. Trump is to pay Stormy Daniels some $130,000. Donald Trump, being Donald Trump and never missing a chance to chisel a little bit more money. This is actually not so different from what the Trump organization got convicted of in terms of untoward practices. Has Michael Cohen pay Stormy Daniels the $130,000 and then pays Cohen back in this phony baloney arrangement over several months, where it's disguised, the hush money payment, as legal fees to Cohen. And that it's actually, this sort of played out in two different arena. One is the kind of political and scandal one. Would they find out, it wasn't how it was characterized. It was that Trump did this with Stormy Daniels. And there was actually another woman at the time coming forward. But for purposes of nailing him with the criminal law, the main thing is follow the money and the dry kind of violation of misrepresenting what it was and taking this as a business expense, and in particular legal fees to Michael Cohen, who didn't do anything legal. He just was the bag man for the $130,000. He pays her. Remember, there were weird initial stories about it all where it was all kind of crazy, and then it's somehow misportrayed on the books. And the actual charges in New York first had to do with that, phony business expenses, and some other things. Now, Cyrus Vance Jr., Alvin Bragg's predecessor, was all set to do this case and had two real pros who had come into the office just for these purposes and had told him they thought they could win the case, and Cyrus Vance Jr. was ready to go forward. But there was a delay, among other things, where they went all the way up to the Supreme Court to get some information that Trump was resisting giving them. And by the time it was really about to gear up, Vance, who had already announced his retirement in December of 2020, was leaving. So Bragg comes in, no, I think 2021, because Bragg comes in early 2022, a year ago, and he squelches the case. And that was a big kind of controversy. Pomerantz and Dunn leave the office in a huff. Pomerantz writes a book about it, which, bad timing for Bragg, is coming out next week. But in any event, Bragg, for whatever reason, presumably thinks if don't shoot the king if you can't kill him. Had a failure of nerve, decided to put the case in mothballs, took a lot of heat for it. Then flash forward, he not just a couple months ago, remember, brings the criminal case against the Trump organization. He wins it. He gets a lot of pats on the back. New York Times big story that Bragg has righted the ship and found his footing, etc. And whether that's what did it or just a reconsideration, he has brought in one or two other people, not Pomerantz and Dunn, and he's become again serious about these exact facts and the way they may state a claim under New York state law. Now, the big witness here, Michael Cohen, who said that Trump, ordered it, and there are phone records that show Trump talking to him twice the day before the payout was made. Problematic guy, right? Convicted of felony offenses involving this, and you can see a defense attorney having a pretty big field day with him. There is old faithful Alan Weisselberg, who Cohen says also green lighted it, who's been put under enormous pressure, and they might go back and try to squeeze him more. He's now at Rikers Island, having a rough time of it, I'm sure, and serving 5 months and not wanting to go back. But the bottom line news for today is a special grand jury has been convened in Manhattan and is about to hear evidence from witnesses on this. Has the DA begun to bring people in to talk to them. Michael Cohen was one of them. Today, David Pecker, the head of the National Enquirer at the time, and not likely to be a friendly witness. But they're now going at it in earnest, and you just have to imagine if Bragg's doing it, it's for the kill. He's not dabbling around. The idea of convening a grand jury and presenting testimony is to bring the case. I doubt it's very different from how it was before. Before there were different theories. Could you do this New York law or that New York law? Again, the case in the public eye was the affair with the porn star, but the case in the New York criminal courts is the misstatement and a paper case that might be pretty straightforward. But I think you can take to the bank that Bragg is serious as can be about going for it. And it's not that complicated. A special grand jury sits for 6 months, but I don't think they want all the paper they can. They want Michael Cohen to testify. They probably want Weisselberg to testify. Maybe they have more. But it's not all that complicated a situation. And for that reason, for a long time, many people, including friends of Trump, like Rudy Giuliani, have considered it a grave threat. I think it is a grave threat in the sense that they are going to be going for it. It's not even clear, by the way, that it would be a felony. It probably would be, but it would involve how they charge it. But so it's not that, it big time brings him down or sends him to jail for life, but it's just, a serious criminal conviction that he is now looking at. All right, so there you have it. The once again on and off and now on again prosecution for the Stormy Daniels hush money. Special grand jury probably will move pretty quick. Lots more to talk about. I will be back to talk about it. Hey, wanted to tell you in the meantime, for those, we're on YouTube here. Of course, this whole my whole main avenue of communicating with folks is the podcast, and we've just came out with one today. Michael Schmidt, David Frum, Kavita Patel. It's another really good one, and we've made our name with just great roundtables of guests. You might want to check that out. Anyway, we'll be talking probably this week about this very case because it's big news, and you can see how it's playing in the New York Times and will shortly play elsewhere. So more to come with the grand jury practice and likely indictment of Donald Trump for the Stormy Daniels hush money payments back in 2016. The next time I'll be back to tell you about it. Till then, Talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and other Talking Feds content, please take a second to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.